With the release of C# 14, Microsoft has introduced several new features that focus on writing cleaner, safer, and more expressive C# code. So in this new series, we are going to pick one feature at a time and understand it in depth. What problem it solves, why it was introduced, and how we can use it in real-world applications. Hello everyone, you have started watching Code with Abby. This is the first video in the C# 14 series, and today we will deep dive into one of the most practical additions, that is null conditional assignment. We will first see what was missing in earlier version of C#, then understand the exact problem developers faced, and finally explore how C# 14 solves it using simple and practical examples. If you are working on real-world C# application, this feature is something you will immediately find useful. And before we move ahead, if you enjoy such in-depth and practical content, don't forget to subscribe the channel, like the video, and share it with your fellow developers. Your support really helps the channel grow. Alright, let's get started. So let's go and explore null conditional assignments feature in C# 14. The null assignment conditional operator, which is represented by dot operator, that is allowed in C# 14 to be written to the left side of an assignment. What is this left side of assignment? We will explain it very soon. This ensures that the assignment executes only when the target object is not null, else it does nothing. Hence, it actually avails the safety. This eliminates null checks, reduces boilerplate code, and makes null safe programming more readable and expressive. Let's try to understand the problem before C# 14. Before C# 14, we already had a null conditional operator that was represented by a question mark followed by a dot, but this was only for reading or calling. This was not used for assignment purpose. See this example. If I have a class called person and I'm creating an object P of person class and I am assigning p.email, that is fine. So if the person is null, the email becomes null. If the person is not null, then the name gets assigned and no exception is thrown. This could be done using this. In traditional programming, we used to have check of P also, because P, if we are receiving, P is an object of person. If we are receiving it from someone, maybe from API or other sources, it could be, there is a possibility that this P could be null. In that case, this assignment could fail here. So we could write this in earlier version, like in before C# 14 version, like this, which makes sure that if P has got value, then only the email is getting assigned. So we see here is that this has been used here for retrieval, for reading the value from email. But what if I'm going to write the same thing in an assignment, which is the improvement in C# 14? So if I'm trying to do this, p dot email equals example domain.com. So this tells me that feature null conditional assignment is not available in C# 13. Please use language version 14 or greater. So why it is saying? Because the program environment that I am using right now is not .NET 10, and if it is not before .NET 10, let's say mine is possibly 9, so it is not supporting C# 14. So if it is C# 13, this possibility is not there in that previous version of C#. Let's go and try to understand these all things in detail, so that at the end of this discussion and demo, you would be 100% clear about how can we leverage and utilize the new feature in C# 14, which is null conditional operator assignment way. So I'm in Visual Studio 2026. We have installed it very recent. If you are new to this video, you can refer our previous video wherein we actually tried to do programming for .NET 10 in Visual Studio 2022, which did not allow us, and hence we install Visual Studio 2026 here. So you see, I have Visual Studio 2026 right here, and I have written two applications just to demo these things. The first application is null conditional operator assignment in C# 14, and the second is null conditional assignment before 14. So we will mark it as set as startup project. This is simple console application. If I'm opening this, I have taking a simple example. The example is we have a simple model, a class which is called person, which has got name property, and this is getter and setter. So this is pretty clear to you. This is the simplest example. So scenario is that we are getting this person object from other sources, as we discussed in the PPT. So we may be getting this object from API, from DB, or from other sources. So there is a possibility that when we receive this object, this could be null. So if we go right away and try to do assignment to the object's properties, so program may throw exception in that case. So we are going to actually utilize few things or the feature that's presently available in C# 13. So if you go and to the property of this particular project, you see that this has got .NET 9. So .NET 9, that is, this is not going to support C# 14. Make sense? So what I'm going to do is that, let's say this is the line that we are receiving. This is the object that we are receiving from API. For simplicity, I have not written any API or I have not made it complex to understand it. But just imagine that you are getting an object called P. The P can be received from an API or from other sources. And you are not sure that the P has got null value, it is null, or it has got some value or some references, right? So the first thing that we do is that we'll do a null check here. If P not null, then only assign some value to P. So then if it is not null, then I'm telling P.name equal Abby. Make sense? And then our program will execute very successfully. So I'm commenting out these two lines here, and let's go and execute this program. So I am hitting Control and F5, and you see that it should show us that program executed successfully. The program executed safely. So since we have handled this situation, if we are not putting this if statement, this may fall and throw us the exception. Make sense? For quick reference, if you go and try to comment these lines, you try to assign something called p.name equals, let's say, equals an Abby. So this will give you the exception. You see this exception, that is unhandled exception, system null reference exception. Why? Because we have not checked this. Make sense? So we will uncheck it again. And you see again, if I am running, it runs safely. Well, so traditionally, when we were getting an object in C# 13, that is before 14 instances, we had to check this like this. In 13, we had another option, one possibility that we could do this one. What is this? We could do like, we could check, we could take a level variable, that is n, name, and then we could say that P conditional null operator and question mark dot followed by the property name. What does it mean? It says that if P is not null, then only get the value of name. If P is null, then don't get. Not throw the exception which we saw here in this case. So this could be possible in C# 13. So let's go and run it. It should give me the current, it should not give or throw an exception, although the person has no value, null, but it is not throwing an exception. Make sense? So we could use this null conditional operator to the right side of your assignment, but if you're trying to do it to the left side of this assignment, this is not possible. So if I'm going to run it, and it should give me the same error. If I'm hovering this mouse here, it says that feature null conditional assignment operator is not available in C# 13, right? So this is what C# 14 comes up with. So you not only can use this conditional operator to the right side of your expression, but to the left also. So how does it going to help us? Let's go and try to explore that C# 14 feature here. So let me set this conditional, that project as a startup project, conditional assignment C# 14. And then we will open program.cs. This is the example. And this is very simple example, the class person. And here we may get P, that is object from API or other sources. And then we did not have to check if P is null or not. So the hell lot of code that you used to write here, you are checking these things and then you are assigning. This is now simply possible just by one statement, and this statement is self-explanatory. So this is the improvement that we got in C# 14. So what we are trying to say, this object if not null, then only assign name property by value Abby. If it is not null, if it is null, then skip, don't assign. And so this will not fall under any kind of exception. This will not throw any exception. And you could see here that the null conditional operator could be used to the left side and wherein we can assign some value here. Make sense? Let's run this program to show you if it runs successfully. There is no error, executed successfully. So that brings us to the end of this video on null conditional assignment in C# 14. We saw what was missing in earlier version of C#, the real problem developers faced, and how this small but powerful feature helps us write cleaner and safer code using simple practical examples. This is just the first video in our C# series. In the upcoming videos, we will cover all the new features introduced in C# 14 one by one with the same level of detail and real-world demos, so make sure you don't miss them. If you found this video useful, please like the video, share it with your friends or colleagues, and subscribe to the channel. Your support really helps the channel grow and motivates us to bring more in-depth technical content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.